Okay, so today is October the 20th, 2020, and I'm reading on the Dyatlov Pass incident in the Ural Mountains of Russia in 1959. A group of, I believe it was 9 trekkers, young people, very experienced, went up, and unfortunately, once they were found later, their campsite showed that they had torn themselves out of some of them had torn themselves out of their tents. It was a bizarre scene. One of them had their tongue missing. One of them had their eyes missing. Don't know if this was just part of having been exposed to the elements there. It just doesn't really make sense. There's some strangeness. One of them had a fractured skull. There were injuries, really critical, serious injuries, some of them. It was just a very strange scene. And some of them looked like they had perhaps died of hypothermia. They were not, it looked like they had been frightened in the middle of the night when they were in their tents, not in their coats and protective gear for being outdoors. So it looks like something happened and they scrambled out of their tents, and some of them, I think, ran to hide or get away. The question is what? What happened? So I am going to attempt to really zone in and connect up. I've always been curious about this mystery, and I was pleased to see that a viewer requested it in the community tab's October reading series. You can go there by going to my homepage. So let's really zone in. What happened? What really happened at the Dyatlov Pass, where these young people who were experienced seemed to be caught in some sort of unexpected moment of terror that caught them in the middle of sleep or when they were preparing for rest, as they were not properly outfitted to be outdoors. Something seemed to catch them by surprise. What happened? And why did they end up the way they did? Please, Tarot, help me to understand this mystery and to relate it truthfully and accurately. I ask my ancestors to help me, the Creator, and the Spirit of the Tarot, because I do believe that the Tarot definitely has a spirit. It definitely has its own little way about it. What happened to these poor kids? I say kids, I'm older person, so them being in their 20s and probably I don't know if they were any of them more in their 30s. Doesn't matter. You're still a kid to me if you're in your 30s or younger. What happened to them? Why did they end up the way they did? Help us to see beyond the veil of this mystery of the Dyatlov Pass. Okay, the first card we get is the card of fortitude and strength. And this has to do with strength being within oneself, typically. But always, as always, with the tarot, you have to wait and see about the other cards around it to see whether, especially if you're like me and you don't read reverse cards, I don't like the imagery being upside down. So I look for ill-dignified meanings by the surrounding cards too. I prefer it just that way. I just think reverse cards look a mess, but no shade to anyone who does read that way. Just for me, it's my obsessiveness. I just can't deal with that. The Two of Pentacles, or of Earth. So we have a major arcana of strength and the Two of Pentacles. So there's a shifting energy, an earthly energy that we're being shown here. But also a sense of partnership. And I'm feeling like, and I did get this earlier. This is not my first go at the, that you're seeing at this reading. I felt like I was getting something earlier in my initial first try, having to do with like a power struggle. And I don't know if it's like a power struggle within the group or within a relationship within the group. Let's just keep that kind of energy in mind as we continue to look. But I'm kind of getting that here too, because strength is to do with you are using your better senses to dictate how you respond, rather than just, let's say, more of your lion, more of your ego, more of your raw, untamed, if you will, reactionary responses. And so it's kind of like your cooler head, it in a positive dignification. It's you using your better aspect of self to make better decisions and control, not just react. So but it has to do with using your power effectively. I don't know if there was a power struggle within the group. Or a disagreement, but let's proceed. To me, this kind of looks like it's decided. I'm not, but here comes the conflict card too soon. The Five of Wands. Now this has to do with confrontation. It has to do with combativeness and arguing, fighting. So now it's looking to me I'm wondering, was this within that group a power struggle of some kind? Let's just look at it. Some kind of argument. Yeah, and this is about rules, the right way to do things, how, and instructing others. This is about being, who's the leader, who's the follower. And I'm getting an aspect of maybe one of the people, maybe one of the two head people that were leading that. I know Igor Dyatlov was the quote-unquote leading them, their leader, but maybe his leadership was questioned, or there may have been a disagreement. I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't really understand how that would... But anyway, I'm just the interpreter, so I'm going to continue to tell the story I'm seeing emerge out of the cards. Looks to me like a personal power struggle once again as I look at these 4 cards, and it looks like perhaps some groups of people agreeing with one or the other of the two who are at disagreement about how to proceed or what they're going to do. And definitely we're having, I think, a clash of expertise, maybe over an ego, especially when I think to the lion that is typically represented within the strength card. The lion can sometimes be our ego that gets stepped on and doesn't like it. The difference is with the strength card, the gentleness of the woman knows how to deal with the ego. It's someone that knows how to deal with the ego and can handle it so it doesn't feel so outraged and will acquiesce. The whole point of that card. I think that perhaps Igor was able to deal with someone, I'm guessing a male, for the most part, but then there's some sort of disagreement. Maybe sides are taken within the group about a correct method or what is being instructed to them to do. I kind of like mutiny, if you will. I believe there was some kind of disagreement. I still don't, honestly, I can't tell you how it got to where it got to, but that's what I'm picking up here. Okay, let's continue. Temperance. And it has to do, interestingly enough, it falls under that card of another card that echoes temperance, which is strength and resilience, that you don't just react, you're mature, you use better tactics to resolve issues and to de-escalate. Also, temperance is about the right combination of elements that bring balance. It is about being a good negotiator. It is about being a good alchemist. It is about knowing balance, boundaries with people, and knowing how to work with them. Okay? I believe there was some kind of argument. Someone was trying to cool it down, but it went out of control, and I think people started taking sides. I can't believe I'm saying this. Okay, yes, here we go with the ego card again. Somebody's ego in and amongst that group was, I'm shown, out of control. Wanted to be the big shot, wanted the recognition of peers, wanted to, I feel like, somehow create a bit of division in this very desperate setting. And I'm sorry, I think maybe be using a desperate setting as leverage. That comes to mind. I don't know if they did it consciously, but I'm kind of doubting it. I feel like there's so much ego involved with this person. People that have a lot of ego and operate out of a lot of ego obviously do not use their consciousness, their awareness very well at all, because their awareness is focused on themselves. Okay, death. Oh, geez. Wow. So then we get this, when we go vertically, we see a radical change or an end, death, possibly even literally, that came about as a result of fighting. Came about as a result of bickering that got out of control. I have a feeling, yes, and this is to do again with knowledge and education. And it echoes again with the Hierophant that deals usually with sharing knowledge, who is the instructor, who, it's kind of a teacher card. I believe there was a disagreement for some reason within a way to do something or what they were going to do. I feel like one of the men in and among them may have had an issue with Igor and had a problem with their ego. And I see there was a division that ended up amongst the groups of the people there. I think it kind of divided the group of, rather, people that were there between two that were striving to be the leadership of the group. I believe there was a difference in opinion. Some wanted to do what one person was saying, and others wanted, I think, to do what Igor was saying. To tell you the truth, I don't know whether Igor was the more mature in the decision making of what they were going to do, or if it was someone else saying, Igor, this isn't smart. But I see there was there was some kind of fight that happened amongst the group. And I think amongst Igor and someone else, and it had to do with mature choices and decisions of what they were going to do. This looks like someone's ego really was upsetting the balance and the wisdom of what needed to be followed. And it ended up leading to their death. It has to, again, I'm shown here, and I will get to that third line, of education, of doing things the right way, doing things the way that's intelligent, that you've been taught and that you know, not taking chances. And not doing something based out of ego because you want to be the first, or we could be the, use good sense. And so it looks to me like someone was trying to show off, and somebody in the group was saying, no, we're not going to do that. And there was a clash. Yes. Now we get the Knight of Swords. This means I feel like within this group of people, I feel like there were two men that were kind of at each other a bit, and I think this was just the last straw. And this is a very sudden, hostile, in-your-face energy. I think someone with whom was trying to use wisdom and common sense gets maybe assaulted by the egotistically based person in the group. Is not having it. They don't want someone usurping what they want to do. Eight of Wands. So yes, there's a combative. We go from that 5, it just picks up to an 8 where it gets really intense. Between, I think, the two groups of people divided in the one group that went on this trek. and I feel like a fight breaks out. I feel like a physical altercation ends up breaking out. Maybe the two individuals, Igor and somebody else, are talking initially. Or I don't know, but somehow they end up fighting, and I think I still don't know how this makes for the loss of eyes. I think that has probably something more to do. I would have to read up a bit more deeply. I can't speak to that, but I can speak to this. I feel like there was a physical altercation. It has to do with a power play. Yes, a decision. And we have a defense. We have fight within a group. I don't know. This is the only card I'm getting. Trying to bring order. Or is this a decision to just assault? I definitely feel that there was an argument over who was going to be the leader, over whose decisions were going to be followed. Things went pear-shaped. Things went sideways there. I think it was in and amongst the group of people. I don't think that there was some UFO that landed and attacked, let's say. Still not sure if maybe... No. This really feels like it's within the group, and we got loggerheads with two people trying to control how the group is going to do something, or what they're going to follow, instruction, and what the right way to do something is. I stay with that. I stay with that, okay? And it has to do with somebody that was mature and that knew how to do things the right way, and with somebody that was not mature and wanted more to like make a record of some kind of what they were doing, or to show off in some way. And this other person felt like that was dangerous, very dangerous. And I think it led to a fight, and it led to people picking sides. I don't know. This was absolutely insane. Let's use the Dark Mirror Oracle to see if we can get any further clarity. I think I do understand what basically happened. I think we need to study some of the personalities of Igor and some of the other men and people in that group, and what their relationships were to each other, what kind of people. Because I feel like the problem happened within the people that were hiking. Okay. But let's just let the cards tell the story. So cards. Did the people on the Dyatlov Pass incident, did that group, did they have a falling out with each other? Like something really crazy? Was this simply a falling out and a horrible act of violence among people that were on a trek? Was this because of ego? The Dyatlov Pass, was that because of ego amongst the group? Let's see what we get. Revenge. Wow. Okay, this makes something that I felt earlier, and I don't know if I articulated it very well. Sometimes I don't. I feel like within that group of friends, within that group, there was a rivalry, a power play that went on. And I don't think it suddenly just emerged up that night in the Ural Mountains. I believe there was a competitive, this is also a card, the Five of Wands is also a competitive card and an argumentative card. I think there was two amongst that group, Igor and somebody else, that were probably very competitive, if not Igor himself. I'm not saying this is all Igor's fault. I don't know enough about his personality to be honest about an opinion with that. I'll look it up though, you can guarantee that. Because somebody was being really immature and maybe wanting to push things in an insensible way. And somebody else here is arguing that's just not a, goes against good common sense, education, and experience say no. I see then here we have someone trying to defend this proper sense of the proper way to do something. It results in some sort of fight and taking of sides. I feel like this rivalry was something that was perhaps ongoing or had been developing within this group of people. We get the card of revenge. I think resentment might even be a better word, may have built up in this group of people. And is this me? I think perhaps the I'm getting that somebody had another side to themselves. Is this me? Revenge. A very petty side. And I'm going to vote that it goes with whoever Mr. Ego is in this group that was trying to, in my opinion, and did ultimately end up endangering the group for the sake of their own ego. I believe that that is ultimately what we're being told here. That the mystery is to do with somebody amongst the group that was very egotistical, wanted to, for some reason, I think for egotistical purposes, to try to do something that the rest of the group was not comfortable with, felt was ill-advised, and went against their own experience and knowledge. And there was I think some sort of fight, that an argument that got out of control, and it ended up causing deaths. Straight up, people trying to defend themselves. I feel like physical altercation, and I feel like people trying to defend the sensible way versus the egotistical way. But the egotistical way, I feel like, gets physical. The person that wanted that. So if that makes sense, I didn't expect this, but two more cards. Anger and chains. Yes. This has something to do within the group Bride in a Cage. I just feel, yes. I feel like the person that had the sensible idea wasn't listened to. And I feel like this person that with the immature energy, whether that was Igor or not, was able to stir up some sentiment among maybe other people. Regardless, I see there was an argument amongst them, and that's how they ended up dying, because of their decision to not get along, to break out into argument and fight. And the minute they did, and they didn't stay unified in what they were going to do and to use tried and true, sensible means to whatever their plan was, it caused their death. And I believe there was physical altercation. Somebody got angry. Somebody lost their cool. So there's my reading on the Dyatlov Pass. Tell me what you think. I hope you're having a great day.